apprenticeship, when did Jesus' apprenticeship end? So when you study again and you begin to understand this whole phase, the Bible says in the book of Isaiah, it says, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. So consider for a moment, Jesus is at the Jordan River, like you talked about the other day. He's being baptized by John the Baptist, and the voice comes to John, as you stated, and the voice says, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Most people, because they don't understand the pattern, they just hear, okay, this is God speaking. He's speaking to John, letting them know who Jesus is. But in actuality, when a Jewish male went through apprenticeship, the father would gather together close relatives, close family members,
yes,
and would throw a celebration.
Yes.
And then once he throws the celebration, then he would stop the celebration for a minute, call everybody together, and he would announce before all the guests,
yes,
this is my beloved son,
yes,
in whom I'm well pleased.
Yes.
And what he was actually saying here is, my son has completed apprenticeship.
Yes, he can take over.
And so now I confer upon him authority.
Yes.
I confer upon him the ability to represent me, to represent the family. And it's like me conferring sonship upon him. And so when it comes to people operating, really, a lot of times people come to me, and when I try to explain to them the pattern, I try to explain to it, how is it that God is telling you to tell me, as opposed to me, the Father, telling you what God said?
Yes.
So it's my job as a father, especially if I'm in tune now,
yes,
where I'm saying, you know what, I remember one day, I had a son of mine from Sierra Leone, and we were in New Jersey at the time. Not a lot of people during this time. We had transitioned from out of New York. We went from hundreds of people to just a handful of people. He kept coming every Sunday. I looked at him on one Sunday, and God spoke to me and said, release him to go start a church. His time is up. And I mean, most pastors are trying to gather people.
You are picking him up.
I looked at him and told him, it's time to go. He looks at me, he says, you sure? I said, I'm 100% sure that God spoke to me, told me it's your time. Within about a year, he went and built a great church in Staten Island, New York. And so many people are doing this thing because they don't understand how this thing operates, and they don't understand the pattern. And so when you get in apprenticeship, you have to wait. You're the father, you have to wait. You're going to know.
Yes.
You hear God concerning so many things. How is it that you're not going to hear God that this son, this daughter is complete, and now you have to release them to do what God called them to do?
And that is so true, Apostle, because this is something people have asked me, like, they used to tell me, why are you allowing your daughter Taryn to do a service in your church every week?
Talk about this.
She can take your people. I say, that's my daughter you're talking about. There's a reason why I'm allowing her to do that.
Wow.
Because I'm preparing her for next level. It is not a threat to me.
Wow.
It is not anything like that to me. I want her to succeed. This is going to bring problems. I said no. Because already Taryn was just comfortable, my daughter to do Prophetess Taryn, she was just comfortable doing ministry here, doing ministry there, traveling, doing this and this. She never thought of establishing anything in that way.
Wow.
Then I called and I told her one day, like you're saying, I said, Mama T, it's time for you to have a church.
Wow.
She said, what, Papa, I don't want to do that. I said, it's time for you to have a church. If you don't have a church, your ministry will die.
Wow.
Because if you don't transition, you die.
Wow.
Because that season is over.
Yeah.
She says, so Papa, what should I do? I said, start looking for a building. Not to rent, but to buy.
Wow.
So Mama T started looking around. They found something in what's that place called? Magic Mountain area. Santa Clarita, I think it was along those areas. She said, Papa, what do you do? I was like, Then it also fell through.
Wow.
Then she called me, she says, Papa, you won't believe. I found an amazing building in Sydney. I said, that is amazing.
Wow.
She says, the land and how it is, it's an old church, and I think I shared something. We were talking about the name of the church and all these things, and she was going back and forth with me on it. And when they found this place, it's so amazing, this and this, she was like, Papa, you won't even believe. Because one thing I love about Mama T, if I tell her and her husband to close the church, they'll close it.
Wow.
She won't even ask me any questions. She says, that's what you say, Papa, all right, it's done.
Wow.
So I told, Mama T told me, we found this, it's only like, you won't believe it's less than 6 minutes away from the church. I said, that is awesome. It's perfect.
Wow.
When people had where her church was, like, you don't see she's trying to do this. I said, no. Why would she do that? Her audience is not my audience. She's my child.
Wow.
God has given her grace to have her own kind of people. Yes, people can cross over back and forth, but this is family. I don't understand where the concept of there should not be at least 20 radius miles of where your church is. It needs to be so far. Me, I didn't comprehend it.
Wow.
When they got the building, I went and I prayed with her and her husband and a few sons or daughters of theirs that are close. We prayed for the building, dedicated the building. One of the first services, I went there when they were having a prophetic meeting. I went and sit there. Sometimes I go and teach. She's always here, she's always there. But to so many people, it baffles them. And the reason why it baffles them is that most people who don't understand the pattern, they don't understand. The people Moses led belonged to Moses, and they died, all of them, just like Moses died.
My goodness.
Joshua went with a completely different generation that had nothing to do with Moses.
Yes.
They were just born of the grace that Moses possessed with the people that he was with.
Wow.
So the ones who crossed over with Joshua had no idea of the people before them or how they came out of Egypt. They just know that we were born in the wilderness. We are the children of transition. Now the reason is that most of us, because we don't understand patterns, we don't also understand our message. So we begin to want to take our father's message, our mother's message, to become our own so that we can be a better version of them. Yet, when you are involved in the family business, you expand the business. You don't replace who started the business.